This checkpoint makes more money than most banks. And no, I'm not talking about Wall Street. I'm talking about the Taliban's actual business model. Every rank in this system gets paid. Here's how. It starts here, in a poppy field. This is called usher, a 10% religious tax. But that's just rank 0. It gets bigger from here. As a checkpoint fighter, you're rank 1. And you don't keep all of it. You pass it up. This is your district commander, rank 2. He writes it down. Every dollar gets tracked. This isn't one checkpoint, it's dozens feeding him. Add customs duties on every truck crossing the border. Then mining, iron, marble, and gold. But he keeps almost none of it either. Wait till you see rank 3. He's heading somewhere bigger now. Every district commander in the province is making this same ride. This is the office of the shadow governor, rank 3. He doesn't collect cash. He collects commanders. 6 district commanders report to him. Every one of them pays up. That's not small money. That's an entire province's economy. Even aid convoys get taxed before they reach anyone. But this box isn't staying here either. It's going to the Central Finance Office, rank 4. Every province in the country is sending money this same direction. This man never touches a gun. He just moves the money. From here, the money gets split 3 ways. Weapons, fighter salaries, and leadership. That's how rank 1 gets paid. Straight from this exact pipeline. This last portion goes to the very top. And it's the smallest slice, but the biggest number. That envelope is now headed toward the very top of the pyramid. Only a handful of people are trusted with this route. This single trip can carry more cash than an entire district makes in a month. This is where the actual leadership operates. Rank 5. This council decides how the entire country's money gets spent. Foreign donations still flow in too. Cash, not wires. Some estimates put total annual revenue over $1.6 billion. Opium, minerals, customs, donations. 4 pillars holding it all up. Opium prices jumped from $60 a kilo to over $1,000. Afghanistan supplies the majority of the world's opium supply. And he's still out here, making maybe $70 a month. The system runs on people like him, but it doesn't reward them. Meanwhile, government revenue for actual public services has been cut in half. This pipeline runs every single day. Rain or shine, 4 ranks, 1 pipeline, billions of dollars a year. So where does all this money actually go? The first slice goes straight into weapons and ammunition. That's how the pipeline keeps its own foot soldiers equipped. The second slice pays the actual bureaucracy running the country. This money even funds an entire shadow court system. And the third slice just stays at the top. Same pipeline, very different lifestyle. $9.4 billion in reserves got frozen the moment they took over. That money still hasn't been touched. Not by them, not by anyone. In 2022, the opium ban wiped out a huge chunk of farmer income overnight, which means the pipeline had to find money somewhere else. So customs revenue quietly became the new backbone. Crackdowns on corruption at the border actually increased their income. The system just adapts. It never actually runs out of money. Tomorrow, the exact same cycle starts all over again. Now here's the part most people never think about. Almost this entire pipeline runs on physical cash, not banks. International sanctions lock them out of the global banking system entirely. So they lean on an old informal system called hawala instead. No wires. No bank records, just trust and word of mouth. This network stretches across several neighboring countries too. Even a note with the right name on it can move real money. International aid organizations have to work through this same system. Billions in international aid got paused because of exactly this problem. They want to run a country, but no one will let them into the system, so they built their own parallel financial world instead. So what does this actually mean for the rest of the world? Global drug demand is directly funding a government most countries don't recognize. 5 pillars, all feeding one pyramid, all leading to the same top. This entire machine runs every hour of every single day. But let's zoom back in, because the human side of this matters too. Most fighters at this level are just trying to feed a household. That's the entire month's income. Sitting right there. Meanwhile, at the top, None of this scarcity even registers. This exact pattern shows up in conflict economies all over the world. Bottom rank takes all the risk. Top rank takes most of the reward. Even rank 2 isn't living large. He's just further up the chain. Every rung up, the risk goes down and the reward goes up. Even rank 3 still answers to somebody higher, every single day. Sanctions slow the system down. They just don't stop it. There's almost always a workaround. That's the uncomfortable truth. This system has now run for years. Quietly, efficiently, consistently. And most of the outside world barely understands how any of it works. So now you know exactly how the money moves. Every single rank. But there's one more number that puts all of this in perspective. $1.6 billion sounds massive. Until you compare it. That's roughly the annual budget of a single mid-sized American city. But that modest amount funds an entire country's government and army. For comparison, some countries spend that much in a single afternoon. It's a small amount of money holding together a very large country. Which is exactly why so many outside powers pay close attention to it. Money is influence. And influence is exactly what's being bought here. The more money flows in from outside, the less independent the system stays. Everyone in this pyramid knows it. They just don't say it out loud. 4 ranks. 4 totally different realities. 1 shared pipeline. Multiply this checkpoint by hundreds, and you start to see the real scale. One province alone can have dozens of these collection points running. Now multiply that number across the entire country. That's how hundreds of small transactions become a billion-dollar system. And that system isn't going anywhere anytime soon. So let's bring this all the way back to where we started. It starts with a field, a farmer, a 10% tax. It moves through a checkpoint. Rank 1 collects it. It climbs to a district commander. Rank 2 writes it down. It rises to a shadow governor. Rank 3 controls the province. It lands in central finance. Rank 4 splits it 3 ways. And finally, it reaches the leadership at the very top. Rank 5. 5 ranks, 1 pipeline. Every single dollar accounted for. He'll be back here tomorrow. And so will the money. No single person runs this. The system runs itself. This is what modern insurgent financing actually looks like. Not chaos, not luck. A carefully built financial machine. This exact trip happens again next week, and the week after that. The whole thing resets every single morning, like clockwork. One more day of the ledger balanced. One more day the system holds. So here's the real takeaway from all of this. Every insurgency, every shadow government, runs on a version of this. The person at the bottom is never the one who built the system. He's just one small part of something much, much bigger than him. Now you understand a system most people will never see explained. If this kind of breakdown is interesting to you, here's what to do. Subscribe if you want more breakdowns exactly like this one. Drop a comment. Tell me which rank surprised you the most. And if you learned something new, tap that like button too. Because this story is bigger than any one person in it. And this is just one story in a much bigger financial history series. Every system has a ledger. Every ledger tells a story. And every ledger eventually gets read by someone paying attention. That's exactly what we just did together. We followed $1, all the way to the very top. 1 coin, 5 ranks, an entire hidden economy. Subscribe, comment, and like if you want the next one. Because next time, we're following a completely different kind of money. Thanks for following the money with me today. This world keeps turning whether we're watching or not. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next breakdown. Tell me in the comments what topic to break down next. And don't forget to like this video before you go. Until next time, stay curious about where the money really goes. The road keeps going. And so does the money. Same 5 pillars. Same quiet machine. Every single day. And that's the real story behind every rank in this system. Subscribe, comment, and like. It really does help this channel. See you in the next one. Money built this world. And money is exactly why it endures.